flew to the front lines of the border crisis in Eagle Pass, Texas.
Disturbing to see is when you see a small child being brought across a river. You're talking about Chinese people are paying anywhere from $35,000 to $50,000 a person just to get across.
Where are they getting $50,000?
That's a good question. 1.7, 1.8 million on ways. You know, the number's much higher than that. There's no way to determine exactly how many people cross or in a group. So the number's much higher than that.
So they're...
Hey everybody, this is me catching the latest on the hype and the propaganda against migrants. Now I usually don't pay attention to Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil is just this guy that likes to argue with all of his guests and make himself look like this really cool guy or whatever in the process. Like he's so Mr. Know-It-All, he's this great guy. So years and years of looking at this guy, it's just like, blech, what the hell? This time, I actually couldn't stay away. For some reason, Dr. Phil out there at the border, like he's got something to do with it or some kind of say-so, or like he's going to make a big improvement on it or whatever. I don't know what his reason is to tackle the border issue. Okay? He's not a politician. He's never done anything for migrants nor against them. But he's also out here right now, and you're going to see the sketchiness of him and his pro ratings BS as we talk about this. And I'm bringing this up mostly because it just stamps another verification of what I've been talking about for the past since 2021. Okay, here we go.
It could be 3,000 or 30,000.
I'm going to fast forward here. I'm going to take it up to...
GPS helicopter.
Sorry.
I have to say the area really did look like a war zone.
Okay, he says that between one minute and 3 seconds to 1 minute and 5 seconds. It really looked like a war zone.
Take a look.
The next scene that you're seeing right here... The next scene that you're seeing right here is this beautiful, picturesque, stuff that's mucked up by those storage containers. Okay? You're looking at a neighborhood right alongside the river. So what part of that is a war zone? You see what I'm saying? What part of that is a war? What part of that is a bombed out area? Where's the base? Where's the guns that are shooting across the river, killing Americans, and all of that open terrain and in those neighborhoods? Okay, this guy's talking like there's a war zone, like there's some dangerous going on, and this is all that you're looking at. The country. You're looking at countryside. You're looking at a few neighbors. That's a jogging trail right along the water. That's a jogging trail. And the only thing that really makes it look like a bad place are those containers. And there's another scene right there. He just got done saying it's absolutely overwhelming. Okay? I'm going to back it up. You can see for yourself.
Absolutely overwhelming what they're trying to control down here.
It's absolutely overwhelming. Now, let me ask you something. Does that really look overwhelming? Okay? You can see under the bridge on the far right where the barbed wire fence is. Where are the migrants trying to break through? You can see on the far left where, barbed wire top fence. Where are they trying to crack down? Where are they? Where are they blowing them up? Where are they destroying? Where are they using explosives? Where are they shooting people into the neighborhood right over there on the other side of that fence? It's not happening. Guys, it's just not happening. Okay, fast forward to there.
Arrest them for criminal trespass. What happens?
Okay, where's the guns? I see children, I see women, I see dudes. I don't see weapons, guns, bombs, cutting tools, none of that.
So they go through the whole court system, just like they do in Texas. Like for anybody else that gets arrested for any type of state crime, once their court case is adjudicated, We then turn them over to ICE agents for removal proceedings. Now, what happens after that? We don't know. We don't know if
Okay, that is 100% lie. Because I've exposed, if you look at, if you scroll back on my channel, as far back as February 16th of this year, 2024, exposing the propaganda, 8 minutes and 45 seconds, all the way to 12 minutes and 8 seconds. It literally shows them throwing them on buses. Okay? And where they go from there, they don't know. Well, yes, they do. They're going to the sanctuary cities. They're going to different places where they could get, caught again or something. I don't know. But they're being taken elsewhere. So this whole thing where they said once we process them, which technically they're not even processing, they're just simply throwing them from border to bus. Okay? Again, February 16th, 2024, exposing the propaganda, 8 minutes and 45 seconds to 12 minutes and 8 seconds. It's 100% a lie that that they're saying they're processed and that they don't know where they're going.
Get released into the country or deported into Mexico.
But they go to jail.
They go to jail, state jail, for a state offense.
They aren't just released into the country.
No. That's our stance as a state. It's another.
Again, a lie. If they get thrown into jails, they're immediately put into buses and then they're sent up. This is during the time when this is during the time when they were given that piece of paper to check Chicago or New York. And they had to check one of those cities and they had to get sent out. That's when they were putting them in jail. Now that they're not putting them in jail, they're just throwing them on buses. Okay. They're contradicting their own selves when they say they're not being released in the United States. If not being released in the United States, then what were they doing on the buses? You see what I'm saying? This Oliveras guy, 100% lie.
Certain measure. So they try to avoid us. They avoid us at all costs. And that's why some of the numbers here have decreased because of that and because of National Guard as well.
Okay, so they look for a green uniform instead of a brown uniform.
Exactly.
And then they're walking along a highway and you see them and you stop them. They've got papers at that point, so you can't arrest them.
We can't. That was happening early on, that many of those illegal immigrants, once they turned themselves into Border Patrol, they got processed, they were released into the streets. Now that was just overwhelming the economic system here, also local resources, local police departments. And that's when Governor Abbott started busing some of them to these.
Okay. He's saying that the mess started beforehand and that he spent only $120 million of taxpaying dollars busing migrants. Another lie. As I've stated before, I couldn't find the episode where I was revealing this, but I will again in later later shows, segments. He's sued the government up to $6 billion plus dollars. Okay, in the name of border security. He sued the government. Now, if this is true that he's only spent 120 million, well, where's the 580 billion left over? Okay, where's the rest of the billions of dollars? Okay, so this is BS. And if it is our tax-paying dollars, another segment that I had done before where he shifted money around, budget cutting the housing and budget cutting family protections, budget cutting juvenile centers, and budget cutting the prison taxes that goes to our prisons, okay? And then filtering that into Operation Lone Star, the policy that Governor Greg Abbott has formed in order to secure our border, which is still not secure, as sure as we're now into 2024. And according to all of those guys, it's overwhelming. It's an invasion. It's overwhelming. They got no control. Okay? Where's that $6 billion gone? I'll bet you $120 million that it really is coming from our tax-paying dollars and not anything from the government when he sued the government, totaling up to $6 billion plus throughout the past, what now, 3 years? Going on 3 years now? Okay, just to vent that out. All of that is bullcrap. You look at the data presented, this mess didn't occur this year. It didn't occur February 3rd, 2024. It's been going as far back as 2021. Okay, it's been going on for years now.
Other cities because of that to alleviate that strain. That's been very effective.
So you're seeing children come in with numbers written on them, right? Do you call those numbers?
Well, when we come across children, we turn them over to Border Patrol right away.
So they go straight to the green uniform.
We do have special investigators, which are Texas Rangers, and if they see something out of the ordinary, or if a child makes an outcry to one of our police officers, then we can investigate. And that's one thing that's probably more, I guess, disturbing to see is when you see a small child being brought across a river, and they have a little piece of paper with an address and a phone number, because obviously nothing gets reported when they're on their journey to the border.
Okay, this right here is very, very disturbing because he's saying we care for the kids. We do this for the kids. We do that for the kids. Throughout the past 3 years, as far, well, technically even further than that, as far back as 2018, they've been doing nothing but cage kids. They've been doing nothing but jail kids. They've been doing nothing but imprisoned kids, okay? They've been doing nothing but forcing them into holding facilities and all this good stuff. On March 15th, 2021, I posted a segment, The Immigration Mess is BS. And 8 minutes, 57 seconds, all the way to 13 minutes to 36 seconds was what I was talking about. These guys are doing nothing for the children. And there's also reports of holding facilities where kids were getting malnourished. Kids were getting hypothermia because they had the ACs cranked on high, and they had they were getting bullied and slammed around, pushed around. One got kicked. Others would get slammed up against the wall whenever they would tell them to do something, and because they didn't understand English, they were then mishandled as trying to be defiant. Okay, so they were facing these harsh cruelties under their thing, and that's not including the sexual allegations that every single one of these people, these holders, these facility holders, all the way up to law enforcement, all the way up to Oliveras himself, state troopers like him, are saying, well, the kids that were violated while in custody was done by other kids, which again, total BS. From 2018 to 2020, whatever. Oh, I can't remember. And I lost the paper. But actually, and I think it's incorrect. It's from 2014 to 2018. My apologies. From 2014 to 2018, the last 2 years of Obama and the first 2 years of Trump, a total of 4,500 kids were violated, trespassed against, if not roughed up, including malnourished and suffering hypothermia. Okay, there's no way in hell that there's going to be a kid that's going to look at another kid and say, I'm going to violate that person. No, it's total BS. Moving on.
Coordinated with criminal smugglers in Mexico. This has become a multi-billion-dollar industry, criminal network as far as human smuggling. Every person that comes across that river, whether it be an adult or a child, is paying a fee to these Mexican cartels. You're talking about Chinese people are paying anywhere from $35,000 to $50,000 a person just to get across.
Where are they getting $50,000?
That's a good question.
Okay, that bullshit, that bull crap. The real question is, where's the money that the U.S. people in the U.S. is profiting on? Okay, because they're without us here, and I could clearly say this because here in San Antonio, there was some traffickers that tried actually taking kids out of what we called the Joe and Harry Freeman Coliseum, where a lot of events take place. The rodeo takes place there. All this great events, including hockey games and all this stuff. Kids were placed over in the back buildings where usually props and all them for performances are stored. Okay, that was gutted out. Kids were placed there, and um, there was traffickers that said, "Hey, they paid money to come over here. I'm to collect that kid to get paid my share." Okay, and they tried bullying the holding facility people here in San Antonio, the caregivers here in San Antonio. The caregiver said, "Okay, hold on, let me go get your kid." Instead, called the police and said, "We got a trafficker here that's trying to walk off with the kids." And those traffickers got arrested. Okay, so the question is, where did the 30,000 come from? Where did the 40,000 come? Where did the $50,000 come from? All of that is basically Dr. Phil trying to feed into the BS that President Biden is paying all of these people $50,000 to pay to be trafficked in, so that way when they come in, they can vote for Biden again. Which Biden isn't saying that, but he's dancing around. I mean, excuse me, Dr. Phil. Well, Dr. Phil isn't really saying that, but he's dancing around that subject.
About Chinese people are paying anywhere from 35,000 to 50,000 a person just to get across.
Where are they getting $50,000?
That's a good question.
Okay, he's trying to play it off like he's trying to bounce around that subject without actually accusing President Biden of doing it, which I think he might as well, because that is the most idiotic scandal lately. That the president is doing this, all of this mess down here, so that way he can get more voters. They're criminals, they're rapists, they're thieves, they're traffickers, and they're voters? Man, what kind of... Dude, I wish these guys who did this accusation would take a look at what they were rolling before they lit it and smoked it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's about the most idiotic accusation ever. Okay? And here's Dr. Phil. You know he's doped up because there he is catering to that, with a big smile on his face. With a big smile on his face, like he's got the insight. Yeah, we know what's going on. We know what's going on. So where is this money coming from, man? Huh? Hint, hint, wink, wink. Look at him. He thinks he's fucking slick or something. I'm sorry, but it's just downright stupid. Okay, to this day, it is the most idiotic accusation. $50,000, $30,000 to $50,000 per person. 1 million people have already crossed over. Okay, the government would know. The government would know. As sure as we're all still looking at $100 billion for weapons for Ukraine, $1 billion for the Jewish people of Israel. You know. We're now also selling weapons to Taiwan. You know, Biden is to be handing out checks to migrants to cross the thing. We would be able to spot that kind of money. We would be able to spot that kind of money being spent. It's just downright idiotic.
Morning, we're at Eagle Pass.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to calm down now. I'm going to fast forward to the next segment here. Because that all they're doing right now is just repeating the same shit. Repeating, blah, blah, blah. They're coming across.
Up front, or they communicate with somebody.
Or they communicate with someone. Oops. Sorry. I'm doing this on the whatchamacallit. I don't have a studio or whatever, so I can't really throw it all on my laptop and say that, I can't do it all on my laptop with the program and all that. Sorry.
Clearly coming from enemies of the United States, and they don't have the money, then it's clearly being financed by somebody.
Exactly.
Somebody.
There it is again. It's somebody. He's hinting around that Biden is paying these people to cross the border and create a big mess. Again, 1 million so far, 1 million plus migrants that have crossed over. We would have been able to have seen 1 million times 30,000, 30,000 to 50,000, times 1 million people we would have been able to spot that kind of cash. These guys,
He's paying the freight.
they're just
Exactly.
stupid.
It's not just the cartels either, because even if you look at the number of suspected terrorists that have come across so far in the last 3 years, over 300, that's a record number. Those are the ones that have been caught. So think about the ones that haven't been caught and who's working with them in conjunction with these organizations in Mexico.
What percentage do you think have been caught?
It's a very low percentage. There's so much talk about gotaways, and I'm sure you heard that.
Right.
1.7, 1.8 million own gotaways. The number's much higher than that. There's no way to determine exactly how many people cross or in a group. So the number's much higher than that. You can only imagine this has been taking place for the last 3 years, and there's no way of knowing where these individuals are right now.
How many known terrorists have been apprehended in the last 3 years?
There's been over 300.
It would be naive to think that you've caught 100% of the terrorists.
Yeah, of course, that's not the case. That's not the case.
Is it a small percentage?
It's a very small percentage.
Okay.
Very small percentage.
So if you've caught 300, then there may be 3,000
exactly
that are in the country.
Yeah, if you look.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt you right here because it is important to realize that he's still beating around the bush. Here's where he's beating around the bush that Biden is responsible for the migrants coming in. And he's also trying to make it look like the border has been weakened. Because if you see, when you look at footage like this, where guys are trying to get away from being spotted and all this other stuff, evading capture, as it says on the screen. Okay, and there could be 3,000 to 30,000 known terrorists in the state, in the country.
30,000 known terrorists in the country that we don't know about.
And we wouldn't know about it until it's too late. We wouldn't know.
Clearly, it's
okay. Again, I have to get right to that because he's trying to make it look like it's weak and all this good stuff. I'd like to remind everybody about exposing the propaganda segment that I posted on February 16th, 2024, minute 8:45 to 12:08. Okay, 8 minutes to 12 minutes. Expose the propaganda where Texas Governor Greg Abbott was transporting people from border to bus. Okay, my governor is responsible for doing that without checking them, without background checks, without criminal checks, and all this good stuff. Okay. Plus, on April 14th, 2022, when I was talking about Abbott's border inspections, okay, he had people like this guy, Chris Oliveras, along with DHS, along with state troopers, along with Border Patrol, going straight to the truck stops and doing inspections instead of looking for criminals that were crossing the border illegally. Okay, they were doing tire pressure checks. They were making sure that the trucks got fluids. They were making sure the radiators were full. They were making sure the windshield wipers were good. They weren't even looking inside the cargo trucks. This guy, Chris Oliveras, and every single state trooper out there was not paying attention to anything 3,000 to 30,000 known terrorists and all that because they was over at the border truck stops inspecting trucks. Not even searching for trafficked people or anything trafficked for that matter. They weren't doing it yet. They were doing gas jockey work. Okay? So for Dr. Phil here to come up here, so there could be 3,000 to 30,000 known terrorists in the country and you wouldn't know about it. And there's Chris Oliveira saying, no, we wouldn't know about it. No, we wouldn't. Well, yeah. How could you know it? You're not paying attention to them when you're doing border truck stop inspections. And you certainly aren't paying attention to them when you're moving them from border to bus, as stated before, on exposing the propaganda.
It's a humanitarian crisis. Clearly, it's a problem here. But if we've got 3,000 to 30,000 known terrorists that are in this country and we don't know where they are, we're not tracking them, we're not monitoring them, then we've got a threat inside this country. They could be scattered throughout the United States, making some coordinated plan to act against the United States at a certain time.
Exactly.
Again, this was all done by my Texas governor, Greg Abbott.
Exactly. We wouldn't know until it's too late. And that's just one factor, right? We still haven't, we still gotta even look at the criminal gangs, MS-13 members, cartel members, people that are in here right now that are also working together with some of these.
Which you would have caught if you weren't doing border truck inspections, gas jockey inspections, which you would have caught if you weren't just sending them from border to bus.
Individuals that do want to cause harm.
That's the criminal.
Fast forwarding to this because it's all a bunch
Border
of
patrol agent who says her job.
Okay, let me get to this.
Thanks for taking time to do this. We're really interested in what's going on down here.
Yeah, it's been a very frustrating couple of years for agents down here.
I've talked to some guards off the record that are real frustrated with what they're doing. It's not what they signed up to do.
Right, and that's the same with the Border Patrol agents. They're stuck processing, transporting, and they want to be out in the field doing their job, but the policy needs to change so we can get back to doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Is it?
Again, processing, not really. You're giving them they're giving them papers to check to see which sanctuary city they want to go. That looks like it's very orderly right there. But at the same time, you can see, as I shift this to the other side of the screen, on the far right side of the screen, that's a bus. That's a bus. Okay? So for them to say, well, you know, policy needs to be changed in the processing and the transporting and all this other crap, policy needs to be changed because we didn't sign up for this. Yeah, but you're still following the orders, aren't you? You know, criminals are getting away and all this stuff and everything. How do you, of course they're getting away. You're providing them a bus ride. What the hell are you talking about, fool?
To catch and release is driving them crazy?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Certain nationalities, a small portion are still being deported, but most, yes, are being released back into the community.
Who's being deported?
Okay. Being released back into the community. Now remember, not this person, but Chris Oliveras earlier at minute 3 to 3:05. No, they're not being released back into the States. Okay? So you just heard the contradiction right there here at...
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Certain nationalities, a small portion are still being deported, but most, yes, are being released back into the community.
You see that? Total contradiction. And now here's, this is Dr. Phil, along with so many other people that think that they're giving you the lowdown as to what's really going on. Okay? Look at him looking like he's this Mr. Know-it-all, whatever, and he's got the real story. No, he doesn't. He's doing nothing but contradiction, feeding into the propaganda, making this look like it's an invasion, an overwhelming mess. And all this good stuff. You can see there is nobody on that bridge right behind them. That's a walkway bridge, that beam that's going across. There's nobody there. There's no prisoners. There's nobody transporting anybody.
I think right now.
Look at the other side of the border, right behind them, on the other side of that vehicle, on the other side of the row of cars. There's nobody there. What are you talking about? Overwhelming. There's a guy in the background walking aimlessly. You know, look behind them. Look behind them. There's nobody there. What are you talking about? Overwhelming.
And what about the unaccompanied kids that are coming over?
As long as we can find or they have an address on them, we'll contact that address and see if we can get an adult that they...
There has been 0 claims of children that have been rescued and recovered to other families here in the States. Anybody that came with a piece of paper, 0 reports of them. Why? Because they were thrown in cages. How do we know? Well, you should know. You guys have conservative friends that have been making fun of them, putting themselves in little dog cages, going wah wah and all this other stuff. But I tell you, there's been no case of any of these people, any of these organizations, especially here in Texas, that has gotten those kids straight to their sponsors. None.
can go to that'll sponsor the kids, and we'll send them to a family member here in the United States.
How many kids are we talking about?
A couple hundred maybe daily.
That's a lot.
Yes.
This is also off of my aiding and abetting segment. And I forgot to write down the date, but it was in 2021, I think, when all of this mess started. Texas Governor Greg Abbott should be investigated, and he should probably face charges for aiding and abetting for all of these crimes that are being committed on migrant children, all the way up to from being put in cages at the border to being transported to different parts of the U.S. where they're being used as child slave labor, such as the Packers industry scandal. I've spoken about that. It's labeled Packers. That you can see for yourself. Last year, I think.
That's 1,000 every 10 days, 2,000 every 10 days. That could be 6,000 a month.
Possible, yes.
How do you deal with the emotions with all the agents? So it's got to be depressing, heartbreaking, everything all at once.
Right, it's depressing. It's hard to see these children alone by themselves. And they're fearful from the journey they've taken across the border. Our agents have seen way too many drowning deaths. I mean, we have agents on our boat unit who've rescued people daily.
I like to remind everybody that most of those drowning deaths were also done by the razor wire floating barricades that were thrown into the river, forbidding them to actually swim across safely.
And it is very hard for them. I mean, it takes an emotional toll.
What's the suicide rate among agents?
I mean, even though morale isn't that high, that hasn't been an issue.
That's good.
Of course not. Many of these people have signed up to actually participate in oppressing these migrants by putting up the razor wire and feeling good about themselves. They're not depressed at all. I can tell you right here and now. It's nice to see a nice, soft-looking lady with this look of concern on her face and all this other crap, but it's just total bull crap.
It's got to be tough. It'd be a lot easier to go somewhere else, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I've been here for a while and I have family, but I know some of the agents who don't have, roots here, or they'll pack up and leave. I mean,
okay, by their own admission, they're walking away. It's an overwhelming invasion and blah, 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 and we're all overwhelmed and it's crazy and people are dying and they're traffickers and they're trafficking and the killings and the blizz and the mud and it's a bloodbath and all this. But by her own admission, by the DPS, Border Patrol own admission, whenever they get enough, whenever they're tired of being there, they pack up and walk away.
it's just not what they signed up for.
Yeah.
Nah, what they signed up for is to defend the country. And they're walking away because they're not really defending the country. They're just hurting people.
I can well imagine. Is there any message that you want out that I can amplify and elevate?
Change of policy. Let us do our job.
Okay. You haven't been doing your job. And that's the reason why people have been crossing the border, these targets and these terrorists and these known terrorists and all that crap. If you just do your job like the way everybody did in El Paso, while Governor Greg Abbott was doing all this horse crap that you're doing, okay, you wouldn't be crying up here in front of the camera. You wouldn't in front of Dr. Phil of all people, the one with the real low down, the one that's got the low down. Man, screw this guy.
Just enforce the laws that are on the books. That would change a lot of things.
Like what in particular? What needs to be enforced in particular?
The actual INA, the Immigration and Nationality Act, I mean, the laws are in the books. We just need to be able to enforce those.
Okay, technically, you have already the right to enforce those said laws that are already on the books. What you're doing is this BS razor wire crap and this BS busing scheme. Okay, so since the law is already on the books, then why don't you just start obeying the law
and be able to do our jobs and have consequences for the actions?
So you can enforce what's there.
Oh, consequences for their actions is exactly what somebody like me is looking forward to, especially the bull crap that you've been doing on the border, lady. You and every single one of those assholes that have been putting up the wires, not processing, not criminal back checking, not drug testing, or sickly, see if they're COVID carriers. You're not doing any of that stuff. Trust me, seeking justice is a big priority.
And what's stopping you from doing that?
Just policy.
Just a policy of not allowing you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Which again is bullcrap. There is no policy saying that you can't do your job, that you have to obey the Texas governor and not do your job, that you have to obey the Texas governor and go do gas jockey duties, that you have to obey the Texas governor, not do your job, and let terrorists pass on by from border to bus. There is no such policy that says that.
Well, God bless you for what you're doing.
Well, thank you, sir.
All right, people. I just want to say sorry that it took so long, and I do apologize for the babble and blah, blah, blah. The babbling that I'm doing, I do apologize for that. But you guys, like I said, I normally don't look at Dr. Phil, but he stuck his head out, okay? He stuck his head out of the rabbit hole to try to look like a badass or whatever, with the real insight, with the real lowdown. And it turns out he's just doing more propaganda, no different than JRL Investigates, no different than U.S. Customs or whatever it was that tried to look like an actual government website, U.S. Immigrations Investigations Incorporated, I think it was called, U.S. Immigrations Incorporated. All of these guys that went to the border to say, there's some sketchy stuff going on. This is some incredible stuff that's going on. This is illegal. This is immoral. This is overwhelming. It's an invasion, and providing nothing but proof that it wasn't an invasion. Okay. Stealth. That's the one that I was exposing the propaganda. That's the one that actually showed border to bus transfers. Okay. And stuff like that. And now it's Dr. Phil's turn to be exposed for this babbling bullcrap propaganda. Again, I do apologize for taking so long and just ranting and ranting and ranting. But so much stuff has been done. And trying to sort that all out is a big mess. It's easier to just join the propaganda team and say that it's horror and all this other crap. But somebody like me that's looking at this stuff and looking at all these lies, I got to speak out. I'm sorry about that. So that's it for today. I hope to be seeing you all again very, very soon. And I hope to do another one. And again, I do apologize. I'll try not to yap so much, and I'll try to keep it a little bit more orderly. I actually wrote everything down. Well, almost everything down. As you could tell by some of the fumbles that I've done, where I just couldn't provide the info. But yeah, I mean, it's another BS thing that has to be exposed, and it's another person. This time, it's a known celebrity doctor. And yeah, it's just another form of BS that somebody like me really has to speak out against. Because it's a shame that nobody else is. It really is a downer. But aside from that, I hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all take care of yourselves. And please stop falling for all of this propaganda BS, whether it be done by some group of internet guys or producers, or an actual celebrity doctor. It's just a bunch of propaganda that they're feeding into, and it's for ratings. The problem is that it's a form of hate, and that's where somebody like me has to step up. Alrighty, and it's a shame that I'm the only one that's doing that. I really, really would like to see more of you. If any of you know anybody that's speaking out against it, please leave it in the comments so I can watch something good as opposed to this propaganda horse stuff. If you know anything, if you know anybody that's actually standing up against the propaganda and revealing their own BS, hopefully better than what I'm revealing, hopefully a better method. I don't know. I'm not computer savvy, so I have to put this camera up to the TV, and try to coordinate the volume and the pauses and the stops and all that good stuff. I don't know how to work that kind of stuff. I tried once, and it turns out it's just, I did it with like Microsoft 365. It was a dismal failure. I mean, it just wouldn't download, and it wouldn't upload, and it wouldn't I don't know. It just didn't work. And I don't mean to spit on that company, but at the same time, that's what happened. So if anybody that knows how to do what I'm doing, but do it better, please mark it on the comment section, so that way I could see some goodness. That way I could see that I'm not by myself on this. Because the propaganda that's being put out there, I can actually use their own film. I can actually use their own film against them. And that's just downright sad. But I understand also it's pro ratings, it's captivating people. They think that it's a threat. They think there's this, they think there's that going on. The problem is that it all feeds into hate. And that is the reason why I'm coming up speaking against it. Using their own propaganda films against them. Not so much against them, against the hate. So, y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. This is Chris Comments signing out.